I probably haven't been here in 6, 7 years. Before that, probably 20 years. This is like where I grew up. This is my great-grandparents' house in Pinnacle, North Carolina. And these are like the fondest memories of my childhood. We're playing here, down in the woods and in this yard, just hanging out with my great-grandparents. They were awesome people and inspired a lot of what makes me who I am. And I guess most importantly for the topic today, the Klingman. This is gonna sound like, I don't know, bleak or cynical, I don't know. But I don't feel a lot of connections to things and places. This is one of the few places that I always come back to. I grew up here. I played in this creek a lot as a kid. And it's just one of those things that's always kind of, this is home for me. And man, it just feels weird. I haven't been here down to this little campsite, which is on the other side of this creek, in a long time, like 7, 8 years. I miss this place. So I think the significance of this place for me is that this is where I spent a lot of time as a kid, playing in this creek, out here riding dirt bikes, camping. My dad brought me out here camping. We'd fish out here. I actually camped in this spot right here a lot on my other YouTube channel, which if you guys have been around for a while, you know this spot it does look a lot different. But this spot in particular, I think the reason it's so near and dear to my heart is because this is the spot that kind of sparked my love for the outdoors. We're not far from civilization, but it feels like we're deep in the woods somewhere. And this is where I spent my childhood, just getting muddy in the creek and playing and not being indoors playing video games. And it's times like those that I cherish the most, right? I look back at my childhood and these are the most fond memories for me. And I hope to instill that in my kids. There's nothing better right now than playing with my kids in the woods and watching them get excited about things. But most importantly, I think just getting outdoors and simpler times, which I guess kind of brings us to why I designed the Klingman and why that knife is not exactly what some people would have expected me to design in 2025. So here we are. So I guess the biggest question is, why did I design a knife? And I have to think back to our buddy Zach, who also came up with a knife pretty recently. He was asking the same thing. He did a video and explained the same thing. And he had the very same person talk him through, I guess, what can only be explained as like imposter syndrome. Why should I design a knife? Except Ben did not lock me in a cabin in Montana for a few days to try and figure out my knife design. Instead, he just texted me pretty regularly, hey, why are you doing this? Why haven't you done this? What's the status? And he talked me through it. He told me I needed to do it. So I started thinking about, why should I design a knife? What can I add to the knife industry? And because I just didn't want to throw something on paper, make it look cool, and then have a knife made. I wanted it to mean something. And it took me a while to come to the answer for that. But I did find a big glaring hole in the knife industry. There's a lot of modern traditionals, but they're all around that $300 mark, like a Pena X Series or SNX. There's nothing that's truly a modern traditional and budget friendly. So that's why I decided to design the Klingman. All right, before we get too far down this trip down memory lane, I want to take a moment to thank our channel sponsors who make everything here possible. First up, we have Big Idea Design. They currently have this right here, the baseline capped pin on Kickstarter. Well, not really, well, sort of. The Kickstarter has actually ended, but there's this late pledge thing where you can still get in on that introductory pricing. That'll only go on for a couple of more days. So if you do want one at the reduced price, you might want to jump on that very soon. Also, check out all their other stuff. If you do buy anything from Big Idea Design's website, you can use the coupon code CARRYON for 10% off. Also, I want to thank Worksharp. Here's a reminder to use your shit and sharpen your knives. Worksharp has been a huge supporter of what we do here. We love them to death. And for all things sharpening, go check out Worksharp. And then finally, I want to thank Whatnot. Whatnot is a live stream auction platform where you can find all sorts of things, everything from cards to vintage goods, and most importantly, knives. And I will be live on Whatnot this Saturday, March 1st at 6 p.m. Eastern, and I'm doing a buyer appreciation giveaway with a Carry Commission exclusive bronze Malibu. That is a $500 knife. If you purchase anything during the stream, you are eligible to win that bronze Malibu. So I will see you guys there at 6 p.m. on March 1st. All right, now back to the video. So since we're here and all, we should probably talk about where it all started for me, which is right here. This is the very first knife I ever owned. My dad took me to a hardware store when I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, and this is the knife I picked out, a Barlow brand Barlow knife. And it's cheap, just, you know, falling apart. It was not made well. But I got this because the people that really got me into knives were my great-grandpa, who lived in this house here, and my grandpa, my dad's dad. My dad never really cared about knives all that much. He was just more of like, do work, and, you know, he didn't care about the gear that got him there. But these are a couple of my grandpa and great-grandpa's knives that I got when they died. And they were very hardworking farmers. And my grandpa was the manager of a textile mill. They worked hard, and it was these dainty little slip joint knives that did all of the work for them. They didn't need a big, heavy-duty tactical locking knife. They just needed a small knife that could do pretty much everything. And I've got boxes of knives from them, and they're all like this, old, rusted. They look like they were sharpened with a rock from the ground. So that brings us to the Klingman, which if you look at like this knife, it's very similar size. It's very lightweight. It's all the things that my grandpa's liked in a knife. Lightweight, strong enough to get the job done, unobtrusive, kind of disappears in the pocket, but it's still a tough knife. And of course, that classic styling, right? It has to have that classic styling. And this is my personal prototype. I've been carrying this since September. I've seen a lot of miles, not quite as many as, say, the Yonder, because Zach is a wild man. And I have switched to other knives, but I keep coming back because I really genuinely like carrying this knife. And I think part of that is because of the hat tip to the men who got me here, right? My grandpas were the ones that sparked my love for gear and especially pocket knives. This channel wouldn't exist if they hadn't. It's also really cool to see my design and my logo on something that I designed in a physical product that I can put in my pocket and be proud of. Obviously, I'm a little biased because it is my design, but I genuinely think this is a really, really good EDC knife. And I think you guys are gonna love it. See this? Old timer. Mm-hmm. Schrade USA. This one I don't think he used much, but it's really cool looking. This Klein, yeah. Klein Tools, says Japan. Courier and Withers Supply Company. So this was just like a promotional knife that a company would give out, which is kind of cool. But I think it looks cool. It's like a little mini buck 110.
Oh yeah.
Scales are cracked. Look at the alignment. Like, this thing was not great, but I'll tell you what, I carried this thing for years and loved it. Simpler times, huh? So this is my dad's dad. We called him Daddy Mont. What a baller. Look at that. What a baller.
Now, double denimed up.
And this was my grandma's dad. We called him Granddaddy. There was the story that my mom tells about being at the beach, and the whole family is just up in arms, yelling at each other. Everybody's upset. And he walks into the room and he says, "Everybody shut up, because I'm the granddaddy, that's why." And he sits down in the chair and everybody's
quiet.
Yeah.
That's great.
The level of control.
Dude, look at him. Look at him right there, just standing.
Oh, yeah.
Arm out, American flag. I mean, dude, it doesn't get better.
Well, what about that, dude?
Oh, man. Look at this guy.
Wow.
Stud.
So, my dad is an engineer and doesn't like spending money. And when I was a kid, I actually remember this. I asked for a toy at the store, and it's kind of like that meme, you know, we have whatever at home. My dad said, "I can make that." So he made me a semi-truck out of 2 scrap pieces of 2x4 and some rounds, and also a car.
That's cool.
Cool is not the word I would have used as a kid, but you know, I probably played with this thing a lot. But
yeah, looking back at it now, though, like that is, man. If
and the thing is,
it, like, dude.
Thing is, my dad is like a very capable person, but this right here was. He's like, "Get out of my hair."
Scram.
We can make that at home, and then he's like, "Oh wait, now I have to make it." I can relate as a father myself. Now I can relate. Hey. What's up?
You know, turn the heat on the air conditioning.
I don't know that we need either right now. I just need to be able to get back, you know?
Yeah.
Tennessee's a long drive in this thing. Oh, brother.
Oh, I like that noise. That's so good.
All right. We came to see my dad and got a little bit distracted by this. I don't know how to explain to you what this is.
It's a monster mini truck. A mini monster truck?
Yeah, but since we're doing a deep dive into me and my history and my past, I figured I had to show you guys some of this, like my dad's shop and whatever this thing is. He calls it his monster truck. We're going to go to third gear. Yeah, so this is a Nissan hardbody on top of a chopped 2.5 frame that my dad decided to build one day for whatever reason, and its suspension is possibly the stiffest suspension I've ever felt. He did say it rides like a horse and wagon, didn't he?
Yeah. This is incredible. This is the highlight of my trip.
Is it Zach yet?
Yeah.
Are we on a Zach adventure yet?
Yeah. This feels like a Zach adventure. Nice. That's fantastic.
What do you call it, Dad?
I just call it doodlebug.
Doodlebug.
Calls it a monster truck.
Yeah.
Doodlebug. That's what I was missing.
Mini monster truck.
Sit for the crank. Crank in a mile. There's emergency.
Ricky, you look right at home on this thing.
Dude.
Honestly,
This
you look right at home.
Makes me happy. Oh, dude.
Ricky is beside himself. I grew up with all this like nonsense. I don't know what you'd call it. Crazy, weird projects from my dad. Ricky looks like a kid in a candy shop.
Wait, hold on. I gotta see the motor. This isn't just any experience. I gotta see how crazy they are. It's got a dual water pump.
And then that's a generator. I had it turned to fill.
Dude, I think your dad should take the channel.
Dude, I've tried to get him on YouTube
I spent.
for years.
I got a yellow truck at the house. If you ever come back. I mean, it's a really, really nice truck.
Yeah, he does great work.
Yes.
He does really nice
And then I
finishing
do
work,
this-
and then he also does this stuff. We
got two
have to.
things.
I have to at least like poke my head in and show them the yellow truck.
Okay. Oh,
All right. So there it is, the house I grew up in, that this man built.
Dude, that's a beautiful house.
More garage than house, and he just said that's the proper priority. My wife doesn't agree, but I agree.
Cool. Oh, wow.
So we go from the doodlebug to this.
You know, the new cars think they're fancy. The push button, this is push button too.
Oh, look at
Turn the
that.
key on, it don't crank it, see?
Oh, yeah.
But the battery might be dead. Yeah. I was afraid of that.
Oh.
You'd love the sound of it. I
Oh,
tell you
yeah.
what, I got a movie of it that you can hear.
Okay.
I won't leave it down because I need it to charge. I gotta put the
Dude.
So I had to peel Ricky away. I couldn't go through my hometown and not show Ricky where I grew up, and you guys also, but also to introduce Ricky to my dad and just kind of show him a little bit of like where I actually come from. And I think Ricky has a better understanding of me now. Maybe you guys do too, maybe not, I don't know. But the next stop on our journey is none other than Smoky Mountain Knife Works, which, again, same kind of general area. We're talking about the Appalachian Mountains, the Great Smokies, all of that is just near and dear. So felt right to come here, talk about this knife, and yeah, I also wanted to see TC and Greg. So I guess the question now is, why the name the Klingman? And originally I actually wanted to name the knife the Bird Dog to pay homage to my grandfather, who was a bird dog trainer. That got shot down for a number of reasons. We went through a couple of different names. They all got shot down, but one that I kept coming back to was Klingman. And if you're not familiar with Appalachia or the Appalachian Trail, Klingman's Dome was the highest point along the trail. And I say was because about a week after we greenlit the name Klingman, Klingman's Dome was renamed, or they announced they were going to rename it to Kowohi, which was the original name, the original Cherokee name. But the name Klingman just kind of stands out. I think it matches the knife really well. It's very unique. So we decided to keep it. And I've always wanted to hike the Appalachian Trail. This part of the country, this place is home away from home for me. Always has been, always will. We spend a lot of time here in Pisgah, Nantahala, backpacking, just driving through. It's a beautiful place, and it's something that's near and dear to my heart. So obviously I've said many times that this area was kind of the inspiration for the knife, as well as my grandparents. So I just felt it was very apt to name the knife the Klingman, even though Klingman's Dome now has a new name. Klingman just sounds cool. So there it is, the Klingman. Okay, really quickly before we wrap this up, I want to address some of the features and specifications of the Klingman and maybe explains why I went with some things, because some things may seem pretty obvious, like this pocket clip. I am the destroyer of pocket clips, and I absolutely had to have the milled TI pocket clip on this knife. And the fact that we did that and hit the price point we did is amazing to me. But also, some things may not be obvious, like why I chose a 90-degree spine. That's a piece of feedback I've gotten from a few people. Why not put jimping? Why not crown the spine? Main reason, I wanted a 90-degree spine, and I wanted to retain the traditional look of it, and it just didn't look as traditional with a crown spine. It looks more traditional to have a 90. It just felt better and more old school, so that's what we went with. Also, the blade stock thickness. This is probably a little thicker than you might expect on a knife like this. A modern traditional typically has a thinner blade stock, but I wanted something really robust because I'm kind of hard on equipment, and I didn't want a really fine tip up here to snap off. So we went with a little thicker blade stock and a hollow grind to have kind of the best of both worlds. Also, one of the standout features of this design is this forward curve to the whole thing. If you've never had a knife with this feature, it's kind of hard to explain. It's something that you just have to experience, but it kind of gives you the benefit of having a recurve. With that forward curve to the blade, you get additional force put into your cuts. It's really nice, but you don't have the drawback of having to sharpen a recurve blade. So again, kind of best of both worlds, and it's a unique feature that once you try it, you're probably going to love it. It's something I want in like all of my knives now. Another piece of feedback that I've gotten or read online a lot already is, why are you making a liner lock in 2025? There's so many other locks out there that are good for ambidextrous people. Frankly, it comes down to aesthetics. I wanted to retain the vintage, old school, traditional look of this, and a crossbar lock doesn't really do that. So liner lock was the most obvious choice there. And hey, maybe there's room for a future version of the Klingman that has an ambi lock or something. I don't know. But for me and the knife that I wanted to design, I wanted a liner lock on it. I should also mention the colors. There are 4 colorways. We have a blackout version. There's also a black blade with burgundy G10 scales, a belt satin finished green micarta, as well as a belt satin finished with brown micarta. And then finally, the ingredient that kind of pulls all this together and makes this thing so impressive to me is the price point. I told Civivi I wanted to hit a price point of $70, and they did that with a hollow grind, Nitro V, micarta, titanium milled clip, like all the features I wanted for the price point I wanted. And the thing is, they actually beat the price that I set because these are available today. It is February 27th. They're available right now at dealers around. Not everybody has them yet. I don't even have mine yet, but the price point, this is available on Amazon right now for around $60. So yeah, everything I wanted, better than the price I asked for. But that's it. I'm so happy this knife is finally out. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to know what you guys think about this, and I'm so excited for you guys to get your hands on one. Let me know in the comments down below. And also, this is just the first of things to come. I'll see you guys at Blade Show Texas. If you are there, come by the Civivi booth. I will be there showcasing the Klingman. You can buy them at Blade Show Texas. But also, there may be other things in store at Blade Show Texas. Maybe, maybe not. You'll have to find out at the show. I'll see you guys there. And until next time, carry on.